The rain hammered against the funeral home windows as I stood beside my mother's casket. Maeve Kane looked peaceful in death, more peaceful than she'd ever been with me. I clutched my black purse, trying to ignore the whispers behind me. "Such a shame," someone murmured. Then Aunt Lucinda's voice cut through the room like a knife. "Well, we all know Ariella was always the disappointment, weren't we?" She looked directly at me, her lips curved in a cruel smile. Maeve tried her best with this one. Heat flooded my cheeks. Every eye in that Riverman funeral home turned toward me. I couldn't breathe. Without thinking, I pushed past the crowd and rushed toward the exit. "Miss Kane." "Wait." A man in a gray suit blocked my path. "I'm Theodore Marsh, your mother's attorney. She left something for you." He pressed a thick envelope into my trembling hands. The label made my blood run cold. "Do not open until you are alone. They must never hear the truth." I looked back at the casket, then at the envelope. What truth could be so dangerous? "Hi, I'm Ariella Kane, and this is my story. If you want to know what happens next, please subscribe." My apartment felt too quiet that night. I sat on my couch, staring at the envelope for 20 minutes before I finally tore it open. The letter inside was short, too short. The bottom edge looked violently ripped, leaving jagged paper fragments. My hands shook as I read the first line. "Forgive me. I only hurt you to keep you alive." Keep me alive? From what? I read it again, searching for more, but that's where it ended. Or rather, where someone had torn it. I held the paper up to the light. Dried reddish-brown stains marked the torn edge. They looked old, like rust. Or blood. My stomach twisted. Had someone ripped this from my mother's hands? Had she been writing it in fear, knowing someone might stop her? I flipped the envelope over. Nothing else inside except a small brass key with numbers engraved on it, 347. I recognized it immediately. The safe deposit box at the Crescent Bank, the one my mother had mentioned once, years ago, during one of our rare civil conversations. Whatever she'd hidden there, someone hadn't wanted me to find it. Someone had torn this letter before she could finish. The Crescent Bank smelled like old carpet and anxiety. I approached the counter, key gripped tight in my sweaty palm. "Box 347, I told the clerk, a middle-aged man named Vincent with tired eyes. He typed on his computer, then frowned. "Miss Kane, I need to inform you, this box was accessed 2 days before your mother's passing." "That's impossible. She was in the hospital." Vincent's frown deepened. "The signature matches, but..." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Between you and me, something felt off. The woman who came in wore your mother's clothes, carried her ID, but she moved strangely. I remember thinking it was odd." "Odd how?" "She had a pronounced limp." "Does your mother have a limp?" "No. Never." Vincent's face went pale. "We have security footage. Would you like to see it?" I nodded, my heart pounding. He led me to a small back office and pulled up the video. His hands trembled slightly as he clicked through files. "Miss Kane," he whispered, "I think someone was impersonating your mother." The footage was grainy and gray. I watched a figure in my mother's navy coat approach box 347. The woman kept her head down, but her gait was unmistakable, a heavy limp on her left side. "That's not how my mother walks," I breathed. The figure opened the box, removed something, then turned directly toward the camera. For just a second, she stared straight into the lens. Even through the poor quality, I could see it, she knew. She knew that someday, someone would watch this. She knew I would watch this. A chill ran down my spine. Vincent paused the video, freezing on that face. It was obscured by shadows and a scarf, but the eyes, those eyes looked nothing like my mother's. "That's not your mother," Vincent confirmed, his voice barely audible. My mind raced. If this woman had accessed the box 2 days before my mother died, what had she taken? Or worse, what had she left? I need to open that box, I said firmly. Now. The safe deposit box felt heavier than it should. Inside was a single leather journal, its cover worn smooth from handling. The title, embossed in fading gold letters, read, Days of Silence. I opened it right there, unable to wait. My mother's handwriting filled the first page, dated 15 years ago. They came today. A woman, cold eyes, threatening voice. She said if I don't comply, they'll take Ariella. Not kill her. Take her. I don't know which is worse. My hands trembled. The entries continued, each one describing mysterious threats, strange phone calls, people watching our house. My mother had been living in terror for years. And it was all about protecting me. I flipped through frantically until I reached the final entry, written just weeks before her death. I know they're close now. I can feel it. If anything happens to me, look for the woman with the limp. She holds the key to everything, who they are and why they want Ariella. The woman with the limp. The same one from the footage. I stumbled out of the bank, clutching the journal to my chest. The afternoon sun felt too bright, the normal world too ordinary compared to the secrets I just uncovered. Then I saw her. A woman stood near the bus stop, leaning heavily on her left leg. Same height as the figure in the footage. Same build. She wore dark sunglasses despite the cloudy weather. My feet moved before my brain could stop them. Excuse me. The woman's head snapped toward me. For a heartbeat, we stared at each other. Then she ran. Actually ran, no limp at all. She moved fast, darting into an alley between buildings. Wait. I chased after her, my heels clattering on pavement. But she'd vanished by the time I rounded the corner. Something metallic glinted on the ground where she'd been standing. A keychain. I picked it up, my blood turning to ice. Engraved on the small brass plate was an address, 428, Maple Drive, Ashwood Hill. My childhood address. The house we'd left when I was 8, never looking back. Why did this woman have my old address? Ashwood Hill looked exactly as I remembered, a forgotten neighborhood on Riverman's outskirts where houses slowly decayed. Number 428 stood behind overgrown weeds, its windows dark and empty. I'd sworn never to return here. Too many bad memories of my mother's cold silences, her constant distance. The front door was unlocked. Inside, dust coated everything like gray snow. But as I walked through the living room, something felt wrong. The dust had been disturbed. Recent footprints marked the floor. I followed them upstairs to my old bedroom. My breath caught. Someone had been living here. A makeshift bed lay in the corner with fresh blankets. Empty food containers sat on my old desk. And covering one entire wall were photographs, dozens of them, all of me at different ages. My school pictures. Candid shots of me walking to work. Recent photos from just weeks ago. Someone had been watching me for years. One photo was circled in red ink. I pulled it down with shaking hands. It showed my 7th birthday party, me in a pink dress, blowing out candles. On the back, written in unfamiliar handwriting, the day everything changed. I stared at that photograph until my eyes burned. My 7th birthday. I remembered the cake, the presents, a few friends from school. Nothing unusual. Nothing that would explain why someone circled it, why someone called it the day everything changed. I opened my mother's journal again, flipping through entries until I found one from that exact date. Today was Ariella's party. She saw something, I know she did. I found her hiding in the closet afterward, pale and shaking. When I asked what was wrong, she couldn't speak. Or wouldn't. Maybe it's better this way. If she remembers, they'll take her. I have to make sure she never remembers. Never remembers what? I pressed my fingers to my temples, trying to force the memory to surface. There was something, a shadow at the edge of my mind, a feeling of wrongness I couldn't quite grasp. The next page in the journal had been ripped out, leaving only torn fragments along the binding. Someone had removed it deliberately. I sat on the dusty floor, surrounded by pictures of my own face, and realized the truth. My mother hadn't just been cold to me. She'd been erasing my memories, keeping me from something. But what had I seen that day? Mrs. Hallberg still lived 3 doors down. She answered on the second knock, her ancient face breaking into a surprised smile. Ariella Kane? My goodness, child, I heard about your mother. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mrs. Hallberg. I need to ask you something about my 7th birthday. Do you remember that day? Her smile faded. Oh. That day. What happened? She glanced nervously down the street before pulling me inside. Your mother swore me to secrecy, but I suppose it doesn't matter now. There was a woman at your party, uninvited. She was taking pictures of you, getting too close. Your mother noticed and went ballistic. I'd never seen Maeve so angry. She physically dragged that woman out of the house. My heart hammered. What did the woman look like? Tall, dark hair, and she walked with a limp. The same woman. She'd been stalking me since I was 7. Mrs. Hallberg's voice dropped to a whisper. Afterward, Maeve came to me crying. She said, if she remembers, they'll take her. I asked who they were, but she wouldn't tell me. She just kept saying she had to protect you. Who are they? I don't know, dear. Your mother left Ashwood Hill a month later. I never saw her again. I returned to my apartment as darkness fell, my mind spinning with questions. A man was waiting outside my door, tall, mid-40s, with tired eyes and a detective's badge clipped to his belt. Ariella Kane? His voice was gentle but urgent. I'm Detective Rowan Vale. I've been trying to reach you about your mother. The police already did the death report. I'm not here officially. He looked around the hallway nervously. Can we talk inside? It's not safe out here. Something about his fear convinced me. I unlocked the door and let him in. Rowan didn't waste time. Your mother was under protective surveillance for the past 3 months. We knew someone was targeting her, but we lost track of the suspect 2 weeks before she died. What suspect? We don't know her real name. She uses multiple identities. But Miss Kane, your mother's death, the official report says heart failure, but that's not what I believe. I think she was murdered. The room tilted. Murdered? Your mother didn't die naturally. I'm certain of it. And now that she's gone, you're in danger. Rowan spread files across my kitchen table. Surveillance photos. Reports. Redacted documents with whole sections blacked out. Your mother first contacted us 6 months ago, he explained. She said she was being followed by members of an underground organization. She wouldn't give us names, only descriptions. We put her under watch, but... He rubbed his face tiredly. Someone inside the department buried half the investigation. Inside the department? You mean another cop? I mean someone with high-level access. Look at this. He pointed to a file labeled Ariella Kane, background. Every page was completely redacted, nothing but black bars. Why would they hide information about me? That's what I've been trying to find out. Someone doesn't want us, or you, knowing your real history. His phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and his face went white. He showed me the text, she knows. Remove her. We need to leave. Right now. Rowan grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the door. We made it to the stairwell before we heard boots pounding up the steps below. 2 masked figures appeared on the landing. Rowan shoved me toward the roof access. Run. We burst through the roof door into cold night air. Rowan pulled his gun, positioning himself between me and the stairwell. The 2 masked figures emerged, moving with military precision. Stay behind me, Rowan ordered. One attacker lunged. Rowan fired a warning shot and we ran, jumping to the adjacent building's roof. My legs burned as we descended a fire escape and hit the alley running. I glanced back. One of the figures was gaining on us, running with a pronounced limp that somehow didn't slow her down at all. The limp woman. She got close enough that I heard her voice, low and urgent. "You're not who you think you are, Ariella Kane." Then Rowan yanked me around a corner and we lost her in the maze of streets. We didn't stop running until we reached his unmarked car 3 blocks away. As he sped toward the outskirts of town, I couldn't stop shaking. What did she mean? I'm not who I think I am? Rowan's jaw was tight. I have an idea. But you're not going to like it. We holed up in a motel outside Rivermond. Rowan made phone calls while I sat on the scratchy bedspread, trying to process everything. "I have a contact in the forensics lab," he said finally. "She owes me a favor. We're going to get you a DNA test." "Why?" "Because your mother's files mention Operation Emberfall, a classified program involving identity changes and witness protection. If you're part of that, your official records might be fabricated." 2 days later, Rowan returned with a DNA kit he'd stolen from the evidence room. I swabbed my cheek, and he rushed it to his contact. The results came back within 24 hours. Rowan's face was grim as he showed me the report on his laptop. "Maeve Kane is confirmed as your biological mother," he said. "But look at the paternal section." It read, "Unknown, restricted access." Below that, in red letters, flagged, classified under Operation Emberfall. My father is classified? My voice came out strangled. How is that even possible? Rowan clicked to another screen. Emberfall wasn't just witness protection. It was something bigger. And someone very powerful doesn't want you knowing about it. Rowan's hacker contact took 3 days to break through the Emberfall firewall. When the files finally downloaded, we sat in that dingy motel room reading through pages of classified documents. Operation Emberfall had run for 12 years, ending a decade ago. It involved forced identity changes, relocated families, and falsified records, all to protect witnesses who'd testified against a powerful criminal organization. "But your case is different," Rowan said, pointing to a file marked Project Ariella Kane. "You weren't a witness. You were a target." The file explained that my original identity had been completely erased and replaced. My birth certificate, school records, even my medical history, all fabricated from scratch. "They weren't just hiding you," Rowan breathed. "They were hiding who you used to be." I felt numb. So who am I really? He scrolled down. "According to this, there's a biological guardian listed. Not your father, someone else who survived the operation and might have answers." He clicked on a blurry photo. My breath caught. It was the limp woman. Her real name was Alara Wynn, last known address, Clearwater Clinic, a remote medical facility 200 miles north. "She's not trying to hurt you," Rowan realized. "She's been trying to protect you." The Emberfall files revealed more disturbing truths as we dug deeper. My elementary school records from Ashwood Hill? Created wholesale in 2010. Before that, according to official databases, I didn't exist. My birth certificate? Reissued 3 times with different information. My early medical records? Completely destroyed with a notation, disposal authorized under Emberfall protocol. "Someone went to incredible lengths to erase your past," Rowan said, his voice hollow. "Your entire childhood before age 7 is just gone." I thought about my spotty memories, the way nothing before my 7th birthday felt quite real. I'd always assumed it was normal childhood amnesia. But it wasn't. Someone had deliberately wiped it away. "There's one more thing," Rowan pointed to a section labeled Biological Guardian Status. "Alara Wynn survived whatever happened to your original family. She's been kept under surveillance for 10 years, not allowed to contact you. But 3 months ago, she went off-grid. The same time someone started targeting my mother." Exactly. Alara disappeared, and then everything fell apart. "Your mother was being watched, you were being followed." He met my eyes. "We need to find Alara. She's the only one who knows the full truth." Clearwater Clinic sat isolated among pine trees, a former hospital converted into a long-term care facility. The receptionist told us Alara Wynn was in room 12, and no, she didn't get many visitors. The woman who answered our knock didn't look dangerous. She looked tired. Her gray-streaked hair was pulled back, and she moved with that familiar limp, but now I saw it differently. It looked painful, real. Ariella. Her voice cracked. I knew you'd come eventually. You've been following me. Watching me. Why? Alara's eyes filled with tears. Because I promised to keep you safe, even if it meant staying in the shadows. Rowan stepped forward. Ma'am, we need answers. What's your connection to Ariella? What's Operation Emberfall really about? She sank onto her bed. I was part of something terrible once. A covert organization that did unspeakable things. When I tried to leave, they marked my family for death. They killed my husband. Her voice broke. They would have killed Ariella too, but Maeve saved her. Saved me from what? From me, Alara whispered. Your mother saved you from me, from the danger I brought into your life. Alara's confession poured out like poison finally being drained from a wound. I worked for an organization called the Covenant, she said. They dealt in information, blackmail, assassinations. I was a data analyst. I thought it was legitimate intelligence work until I discovered what they really did. When I tried to defect, they killed my husband and came after Ariella. Why me? I asked. I was just a child. Because they knew you were the one thing that could make me comply. They threatened to take you, hurt you, unless I came back. Alara's hands shook. But your mother, Maeve, was stronger than me. She'd been investigating the Covenant as a journalist. When everything fell apart, she took you into protection. She took you away from me to keep you safe. Rowan leaned forward. The coldness Ariella experienced, the emotional distance? It was deliberate, Alara confirmed, looking at me with anguished eyes. Maeve hurt you on purpose. She made the Covenant believe she didn't care about you, that you were just a burden she'd been stuck with. If they thought she loved you, they would have used you against her. So she acted like she didn't care. Every harsh word, every moment of cruelty, it was to save your life. I couldn't breathe. All those years of feeling unwanted, unloved, it had been an act. A sacrifice. Alara pulled out a small wooden box from beneath her bed. Maeve gave me this before she died. She knew she was running out of time. She made me promise to give it to you if anything happened to her. Inside was another letter, this one sealed with wax. Through tear-blurred eyes, I read Maeve's final words. Ariella, every time I pushed you away, my heart broke. Every cold word, every disappointed look, none of it was real. I loved you more than my own life, but I couldn't show it. They were watching. Always watching. If I'd let myself love you openly, they would have known. They would have taken you. I chose your safety over your happiness. I chose your life over our relationship. I hope someday you'll understand. I hope someday you'll forgive me. But now I need you to be strong. I need you to finish what I couldn't. The people who destroyed our lives, who killed Alara's husband, who turned your childhood into a lie, they're still out there. They're still hurting people. I've left you the tools to stop them. Use them. At the bottom was a list of names. People who'd worked for the Covenant. People who'd orchestrated Operation Emberfall not to protect witnesses, but to control them. The top name made my blood freeze, Lucinda Kane. My aunt. The second letter explained everything my mother couldn't say while she was alive. How she'd infiltrated the Covenant as an investigative journalist. How she'd discovered their plans to use children of defectors as leverage. How she'd stolen me from a safe house the night the Covenant came for Alara. She wasn't supposed to take you, the letter read. Emberfall was designed to place you with approved guardians, people the Covenant had vetted. But Maeve knew the truth, those guardians were plants. They would have raised you as their hostage. So she broke protocol. She claimed you as her own daughter, falsified records, and disappeared into suburban anonymity. For years, she played the role of a single mother raising her disappointment of a child. And it worked. The Covenant believed the cover story. They thought you were just another burden she'd been stuck with. Tears streamed down my face. My mother had given up everything, her career, her reputation, her relationship with me, all to keep me safe. The letter continued, but I'm dying now, sweetheart. Heart failure, the doctors say, though I have my suspicions. If you're reading this, it means I didn't survive long enough to tell you the truth myself. So now it falls to you. Finish what I couldn't. The names I've listed, expose them. Bring them down. Make sure no other child suffers what you suffered. Her final request, finish what I couldn't. The dossier my mother had compiled was extensive. Names, dates, transactions. Years of investigation into the Covenant's operations. She'd documented everything, the money laundering, the blackmail operations, the murders disguised as accidents. Lucinda Kane's involvement went back 20 years. She'd been recruiting operatives, including Alara. She'd ordered surveillance on defectors. According to my mother's notes, Lucinda had personally given the order to eliminate Alara's husband. My own aunt had helped destroy my life before it even began. Rowan photographed every page. This is enough to bring them all down. We can take this to the FBI. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I know you have Maeve's files. Come to the family estate tonight. Alone. If you want the complete truth about your father, about who you really are, come alone. Lucinda. It's a trap, Rowan said immediately. Of course it is. I stared at the message. But she's the only one left who knows everything. My mother's files have gaps. Alara only knows part of the story. If I want the full truth about my father, about why this all started, I have to go. Then I'm coming with you. She said alone. I'll stay hidden. But you're not facing her without backup. The Kane family estate loomed against the night sky, all Gothic windows and old money. Lucinda answered the door herself, elegant in a black dress, her smile cold. Ariella. So glad you could join me. She led me to the dining room where a meal was already laid out, 2 place settings, expensive china, wine and crystal glasses. Please, sit. We have so much to discuss. I remained standing. You killed Alara's husband. You helped track my mother. Why? Lucinda poured herself wine, unbothered by my anger. Because I believe in order, dear niece. The Covenant maintains order in a chaotic world. Your mother threatened that order with her righteous journalism. Alara threatened it by defecting. They had to be managed. Managed. You mean destroyed. I mean controlled. She sipped her wine. But here's what your mother never told you, what she perhaps didn't even know herself. Maeve wasn't your savior, Ariella. She was your captor. My hands clenched into fists. That's a lie. Is it? Did you ever wonder why your real mother abandoned you? Why she gave you up so easily? Lucinda's smile widened. Your biological mother is still alive, dear. And she's been looking for you for 18 years. Before I could respond, the door burst open. Alara stormed in, her face twisted with fury. Stop poisoning her mind with lies. She turned to me, desperate. Ariella, don't listen to her. I am not your biological mother. I was your guardian, yes, but... Oh, spare me the theatrics, Alara. Lucinda stood, her composure cracking. Tell her the truth. Tell her who really gave birth to her. Maeve was her mother. Alara shouted. Maeve gave birth to Ariella. The entire story about me being the biological guardian was part of the cover, another layer of the lie meant to protect her from the Covenant. The room spun. What? Alara's voice broke. Your mother created a false history that made it look like she'd taken you from me. But the truth is simpler and more painful. Maeve was your real mother. She invented the Guardian story to make the Covenant think you were leverage against me, not against her. That way, if they came after you, they'd focus on me instead of her. Very touching, Lucinda sneered. But irrelevant. Because right now, they're coming for all of you. My phone rang. Rowan's voice was urgent. Ariella, get out. We intercepted a transmission. Armed operatives are headed to your location right now. Outside, I heard vehicles approaching. Multiple engines. Lucinda smiled. Right on time. The estate's windows exploded inward. Masked figures in tactical gear poured through, at least 6 of them. Rowan appeared from the hallway, gun drawn, and opened fire. Move, he shouted. We ran through the kitchen toward the back exit. Bullets tore through the walls around us. Alara moved surprisingly fast despite her limp, and I realized she'd been trained for this 8 years ago. Before she defected, she'd been one of them. One operative blocked our path. Alara didn't hesitate, she disarmed him with practiced efficiency and we kept running. Behind us, Lucinda's voice rang out, don't kill them. We need the girl alive. But as we burst into the garden, I heard her scream. One of the operatives had turned on her, dragging her back inside. She's not needed anymore, the operative called out coldly. We made it to Rowan's car and peeled out of the driveway. In the rearview mirror, I watched the estate shrink into darkness. Did you hear what they called me? I gasped. One of them shouted a name. What was it? Rowan's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Kestrel. They called you Kestrel. I'd never heard that name before. But somehow, it felt familiar. Like a forgotten song. We drove to a police safe house where Rowan had stashed one of the captured operatives from an earlier incident. The man sat handcuffed to a table, his mask removed. Tell her, Rowan demanded. Tell her who she really is. The operative's eyes fixed on me with disturbing intensity. You're Kestrel Ashford. Daughter of Victor Ashford, the whistleblower who exposed the Covenant's original operations 18 years ago. The name meant nothing to me. I don't understand. Your father testified against the Covenant in a closed federal trial. He provided evidence that should have destroyed them. But they were too powerful, too many people in high places were compromised. The trial was buried, and your father. The operative's voice dropped. He went underground. Maeve Kane wasn't hiding you from Alara. She was hiding you from him. Why? Why would she hide me from my own father? Because Victor Ashford became what he was fighting against, the operative said quietly. After the trial failed, after watching the Covenant survive, he snapped. He decided if he couldn't destroy them through legal means, he'd destroy them another way. He became their greatest enemy, and their most ruthless hunter. He kills anyone connected to the Covenant. And you, Kestrel, are connected through your mother. My mind reeled. What happened to my mother? The woman who gave birth to me? She died during childbirth. You never knew her. The operative leaned forward despite his restraints. Victor Ashford wants you alive, Kestrel. But not to protect you. He wants to use you as bait to draw out the remaining Covenant members. You're his endgame. The final envelope had been in Rowan's evidence safe all along. He retrieved it now, a thick packet labeled, "Open only if Ariella discovers the complete truth." Inside was a USB drive and one last letter from Maeve. I plugged the drive into Rowan's laptop. A video file appeared, my mother, gaunt and tired, recorded just days before her death. Ariella, my darling girl, she began. If you're watching this, you've learned everything. You know about Victor, about the Covenant, about why I did what I did. Your father was a good man once. He loved your mother deeply. When she died and the Covenant escaped justice, it broke something inside him. He's been hunting them for 18 years, and he won't stop until they're all dead, or until he is. But you're not a weapon, sweetheart. You're not bait. You're my daughter, and I raised you to be better than all of this. I fought Victor. I fought the Covenant. I fought everyone who tried to use you. And yes, I hurt you in the process. I'll never forgive myself for that. But I kept you alive. I kept you free. Now you have a choice. The video showed my mother holding up a piece of paper with coordinates written on it. These coordinates will lead you to your father. He's been waiting for you to find him, waiting to complete his revenge. If you go, you'll be walking into his war. But you'll finally meet him. You'll understand where you came from. Or you can disappear. Take the evidence I've compiled, give it to the FBI, and start a new life somewhere far away. Let the system handle the Covenant. Let the system handle Victor. The choice is yours, Ariella. But whatever you choose, know that I loved you. Every single day. I loved you. The video ended. I stared at the coordinates on the screen. Rowan stood behind me. What are you going to do? I thought about my mother's sacrifice. About all the years she'd pushed me away to keep me safe. About the truth she'd died protecting. I looked at Alara, at Rowan, at the coordinates that would lead me to a father I'd never known, a father who'd become a monster in his quest for justice. My hand hovered over the keyboard. Delete the coordinates and disappear? Or follow them into the darkness? Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. The FBI would be here soon. Whatever I decided, I had to decide now. I took a deep breath and made my choice. The end.